Hello and welcome to today's Linux cast. Today we're going to be looking at the intro to the terminal for CentOS. Your terminal is your command line. If you use Windows, it's similar to command line, but it's a lot more powerful. So if you're on your CentOS desktop, you're going to choose Applications in the upper left-hand corner and go to System Tools and click on Terminal. And I'm going to zoom mine in a little bit so that way you guys can see a little better what I'm doing. And it'll bring you to the command here. And what I'm going to have you type in there is who am I with no spaces, and press enter. And it'll come back and it'll say what your username is. So there you go, you've run your first command. Pretty easy, right? Well, where are we? Basically, when you're in the terminal, you're in a directory somewhere, and you might want to know where that is. So if you type in ls, that's short for list, it's going to show you a little bit about where you're at. And you can see there's a bunch of files. Desktop, document, downloads, pictures. Those sound like my documents, but I don't know for sure. Let's change my directory a little bit. I'm going to type in cd space // and basically what that's going to do is it's going to move me up one directory. And then I'm going to do ls one more time, and I can see, there's only one directory here, and that's Josh, so I must have been in my own directory. Well, I want to go back in there, so I'm going to do cd space Josh and press enter, do another ls, and yep, lo and behold, there's my documents. Awesome. Now, we've just done some basic moving around. We figured out that I'm in my own directory, and we moved up, we moved down. So we're going to do a different kind of directory change. We're going to do cd, and this time just a /. And that's going to take me to the root, the highest level directory that I can go to. And I'm going to press enter and ls, and bam, there is the root. There's a lot you can do from the root here, so you have to be careful. You could accidentally delete something and move around. But I want to go back to where I was. So it's not clearly obvious, but we were in the directory called home. So I'm going to do an ls home, and we can see Josh is in there. So we're going to do cd home, and then cd Josh, and ls, and we're right back where we started. Now there's a simpler way to do that, so I'm going to go cd and then / back to the root, and from here I can actually do cd home / Josh. That way I've done it in one command instead of two. Now let's see what we've got here. We have my desktop, my documents, my downloads. I want to see what's on my desktop, so I'm going to do ls desktop. Now keep in mind I capitalized the D on desk. That is important, and it doesn't look like I have any files on there. I do have a couple of icons, but those are there by default, so they're not going to show up when I do an ls. Why don't we create something? Now CentOS has a built-in text editor called VI. VI can be kind of complicated, and I'm going to have some special videos on that, on how to use it. For the time being, we're going to have to install a different text editor. So from the terminal, we can install programs as well. So what we're going to do is type in su space dash. And basically, SU is short for super user. By default, you can't install a program. You're not an administrator. Linux has security like that. So I'm going to type in SU space dash, and it's going to ask me for my root password. If you remember from the install, you set up a root password. And now here it says root at localhost instead of Josh at localhost. And if I do who am I again, it's going to say root now. Now with root you have to be real careful, because you can actually delete and change anything you want, and if you change the wrong thing, it'll destroy your whole computer, or at least the files on the hard drive. So from here what I'm going to do is yum. Yum is your package manager. That's how you install things on CentOS. Install nano. And if you remember from our Ubuntu terminal video. Nano is a text editor. It's a lot easier to use than VI, especially if you're new. VI is a great editor, but it's pretty hardcore. Okay, so it's installed now. And then what I'm going to do is type exit, and that's going to take me out of the root area. And I'm going to type who am I again, and I can see I'm Josh again. So then what we will do now that we have Nano is, where are we at? We're back in my documents area. So I'm going to go CD desktop. And then what I'll do is I'm going to do nano test.txt. And there we go. And if you'll notice at the bottom it says new file, because this file doesn't exist yet. And I'm going to type in here hello world. There we go. Period. And then to save this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do Control O. And it'll pop up and say, do you want to write this? And I'm going to go enter for yes. And then what I can do is minimize my terminal real quick, and I can see test.txt, and I'm going to open it. There it is, hello world. Now from the command line, or I'm sorry, terminal, we're going to do Control X to get out of Nano. And then I'm going to do ls again, that's list, and I can see test.txt. So we created a file and added content to it right from the terminal. That's pretty useful, especially if you're doing web design. You just need to change something real quick, or if you need to change a configuration file. It's nice, quick, and easy. Now what we can do with this file is we can move it or delete it. So I'm going to do CD, and I'm going to go back one. Remember, that's period, /. And then I'm going to do ls again. And I can list folders that I'm not in. So I'm going to do ls desktop. I can see my test. Just ls, I can see where I'm at. And I'm going to move it from my desktop here where it's listed to my documents. So if I ls here, I've got desktop in documents. So I'm going to do mv, that's short for move, and I'm going to select desktop / test.txt space documents. And remember to keep your capitals where you need them. So I have a capital D on desktop and a capital D on documents, because that's how it's listed. And then press enter, and then we're going to ls desktop again. And there's nothing there, but if we ls documents, there we go, test.txt. So I've moved it. Now I can also copy it. So I'm going to do a copy of documents / test.txt to desktop. There we go. So now I'm going to ls desktop, and there it is. So we made a copy of it. Now I really don't need either file, so what I'm going to do is I can now delete the file from here. I'm going to do rm for remove space desktop / test.txt. And if we ls desktop again, it's gone. So that was pretty simple. Now, so far what we've covered is opening your terminal, running some basic commands. We talked about becoming root to do administrative tasks like install programs. So that pretty much covers it. We've made and deleted files. This is kind of a basic way to get into the terminal. The terminal is very powerful. There's a lot you can do with it. There's a lot more you can do with it. But this is basically just a video to get your feet wet. So I recommend playing around with it, seeing what you can learn. So thank you for watching the intro to the terminal.